Welcome to ACCB 229 QuickBooks Pro Accounting for summer semester 2014. My name is Candace Bosiger and I will be your instructor. I am a CPA and a QuickBooks Pro advisor and have extensive experience in QuickBooks. Looking forward to a wonderful semester. This intro video will give you a broad overview of my expectations of the course, how my Blackboard is set up, how you submit assignments, and then a very, very brief overview of QuickBooks in general. I apologize in advance. The video is a little long, a little longer than I had intended, but at any point you can pause the video and come back to it. When you open up your Blackboard, it may or may not look similar to this. I am in the instructor version of Blackboard, so some things look similar and some don't. So when you click on the course, you will go here and it's Start Here. So just below here, there's Start Here. And if you're watching this video, you can officially say that you have checked off number 1. I will be able to see whether you have watched the entire video, so please view the entire thing. If you open it up and then close it right away, I can see that you haven't watched the entire video. There's some very important things here, and you will miss out if you don't watch the entire thing. So a couple of other items. I need you to post an introduction to on the discussion board below. This is how we verify that you are able to log into Blackboard and that you are participating in a course. If you do not post an introduction by Tuesday at noon, I will drop you from the course. You also need to work on getting QuickBooks installed on the computer of your choice. Chapter 1 is where you will walk through the process of installing that. Please work on that at your soonest convenience. You also need to download a PDF print driver from ninite.com. I'm going to go there really quick and show you what I am talking about. You need to go to this website, and once you're to this website, you're going to go right here to Qt PDF, and you're going to check that and you're going to get installer. Everything in this class will be printed to PDF. We do not actually print anything to paper, and so if you do not have a PDF print driver, go ahead and download this one. Now there is a PDF print driver that comes with QuickBooks, but because it's the educational license, it does not work correctly. So let's go back. And then I'll need you to review the course syllabus and review the course schedule. And we're actually going to do that on this video so that I can talk about some of my expectations. And then last but not least, I need you to take the syllabus quiz below. The rest of the course will not unlock until you have completed the syllabus course. So for example, if you are to go over here and select on chapters, most of the course content isn't going to be there because you have not completed your syllabus quiz. So most of my content is under chapters. There is one file for every chapter and one for every practice set. And if you'll notice, there's something here called adaptive release, meaning that until you complete chapter 1, chapter 2 won't unlock. And until you complete chapter 2, chapter 3 won't unlock. The entire course is open and available, so if you want to work ahead, that's just fine. You just have to work in order. And then things will unlock as you complete the chapters. But as you can see, everything is ready to go and set up for you. The only thing that is not posted currently is a couple of the chapter videos, and I will be working on those next Monday and should have them up no later than Tuesday at noon. So the other thing that's really important over here is syllabus and course schedule. And while we're here, just a side note, there is some announcements. I am not the type of instructor to post announcements for every single due date and reminders. I expect you to keep track of your course schedule and all of your deadlines. The deadlines is Sunday night at midnight for every single week, so there aren't varying deadlines to keep track of, so I expect you to keep track of them. I will occasionally post some announcements. Let's say I went ahead and got some videos done for chapters 2. I will go ahead and post that out on the announcements, but I do not post announcements regularly. So let's take a look at the course syllabus. You're going to need QuickBooks Pro 2013 by Janet Horn, available in the bookstore, and you will need A1 photography. If you can find it without the disk, that is just fine. We do not need the disk for the purposes of this class, and a flash drive, and I recommend you use a flash drive with nothing else on it. My expectation is that there's no late work this semester. We are on too tight of a time schedule in order to accept late work. And so my expectation is there will be no late work. Okay, so this class, fairly straightforward. There's the same homework. We go through the same process for every chapter. So for every chapter, you're going to have an in-class problem, and the textbook will walk you through that in-class problem step by sometimes painful step. And then you will have an end of the chapter problem. And it's very similar to the chapter problem, the in-class problem, except that it does not give you step-by-step instructions. So what happens is, for instance, in chapter 2, you're going to open up a file called computer, and I'll show you in a minute how to open up those files. You're going to go to something called computer consulting. You're going to open up that file and you're going to put in transactions. The file's already been set up, the company's already been set up. And then you're going to go clear through chapter 2, adding transactions. And then you're going to get to the end of chapter 2 and it's going to ask you to do an end of the chapter problem. And when you go to the end of the chapter problem, you are going to open a different company. You're going to open Landscape and Pool Service. And you're going to put in transactions that are very similar to what you did in the in-class problem, but you're just going to do them in the end of chapter problem. So you get a practice of doing it twice for 2 different companies. There's also end of chapter questions, and they're multiple choice, fill in the blank. They are identical to the ones that are in your textbook, but you need to be able to take the quiz or do the assignment out in Blackboard and submit your answers via Blackboard. And then at the end of every chapter, there's a short essay question, and it's the exact same question for every single chapter. As I mentioned before, we're not going to print anything in this class. You need to download the PDF print driver, and I will show you how to print to PDF within QuickBooks. Let's talk about grading for your assignments. For the in-class portion, obviously we're not going to do it together in class, but there are step-by-step instructions in your textbook, and you are going to be graded on whether you completed it. So if you completed it, you're probably going to get full points. As for the end of the chapter problems, it is going to be graded for completeness and accuracy. So if you completed it but nothing is correct, you're going to be docked points. And I deduct 2 points for each mistake. I give you a lot of check figures so to try to keep you on track, and so I figure that because I give you those check figures, I can take off points for every mistake. So you'll know at the end pretty much what your grade's going to be when you get there. If you continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over, such as adjusting entries are incorrect every single chapter, I'm going to start taking off even more points than the 2 points per mistake. All assignments need to be turned in via Blackboard. Please do not email me your assignments. I receive a lot of email and they do get lost in the shuffle. And then all of your files need to be zipped. And I'm going to give you a very short demonstration on how to zip files. Somebody taught me this last year and it was the coolest thing. One of the complaints that students have is that when you go to upload files into Blackboard, if you have more than 4 or 5, it can be kind of a hassle. Well, the solution to that is you zip them, and then you only have to submit the zip file. So here, for instance, I have a whole list of PDFs, and I would highlight them, right click, go to zip, and add to solutionmanual.zip. And you need this .zip, not this .7z. I need this .zip. And then sometimes it takes a little bit because I am out in Dropbox. And there it is. And then when you go to upload your assignment in Blackboard, and I'm going to go back over to Blackboard. So for instance, if you were doing chapter 2 and you were submitting your in-class problem, you would go here and you would browse my computer, and the only thing that I would need from you would be this file right here. So all of the files are zipped and I can open those, I can view them, I can give you feedback from them, instead of uploading every single file. So for instance, if you'll turn in your textbooks to page 138, you will submit all of the items listed on page 138. And then you're going to do the end of the chapter problem and you're going to submit all the items on page 142. All of the items on page 142. So as you can see, it is very beneficial to zip those files because at some point we're going to have well over 1,000 documents, and they can be a lot to keep track of. Another thing I want to point out really quick, it's very important for you to be able to keep track of all of these documents. So I recommend you going out and you create a folder that says QuickBooks, and then do a separate folder for every single chapter, and do that by right-clicking and going to New Folder, and then do Chapter 3. And then for instance, Chapter 1, although they don't have, Chapter 2 would have an in-class problem, and you would also have a end of chapter problem. So I recommend you setting up your files so that you can keep track of everything. So we got a little sidetrack, so back to my syllabus. Practice sets, there's 4. 3 of those are in the textbook and the other one is A1 photography. 3 are part of your regular grade and the last one is your final. There's also a multiple choice portion of 2 practice sets. One of them's after chapter 4 and the other one's after chapter 7. You must complete all 4 practice sets in order to pass this class. So if you choose to do all of the work and get down and do not finish the comprehensive practice set and do not turn something in, then you will not pass the class. I will be required to give you an F. And as far as grading on the practice sets, I take 5 points off for every mistake. Each of those practice sets is worth 200 points. Late policy, I don't accept late work and please don't ask for an extension. This is a very condensed course. It is a 4-credit class, so you will be looking at anywhere from 15 to 20 hours a week working on this class. Some students find that they work through the material much more quickly. One warning that I have is that the faster you try to hurry through this course, the more mistakes you're going to make and the more time you're going to spend redoing. So I suggest that you work at a slow and steady pace, read all the instructions, watch the videos that are provided, and you will be a much happier camper. The other thing we probably need to talk about at this point is the chapters build on each other. So you're going to go in and pull up a new file for chapter 2, and you're going to add transactions, and then you're going to get to chapter 3 and you're going to use that exact same file to begin chapter 3 and do all of those transactions. And so you'll have to correct any mistakes that you make in chapter 2 in order for chapter 3 to be correct. And I'm very good about getting my grade or getting things graded in a very timely fashion. So if you're worried about moving on before it's graded, shoot me an email and let me know and give me the heads up, and I'll be more than happy to get it graded and returned to you. Um, but we don't change files from chapters 2 to 3. It's the exact same file. We're not creating a new file, but you go in on your chapter 3 file that you're now using and make the chapter 2 changes. Testing, the testing's all done out on Blackboard. You never have to come to campus, which is good for those of you that are out of state. Academic honesty, I have one phrase for it: don't. And if you are cheating, you have far more problems than just cheating in my class. And as a rule, if I catch you cheating, you automatically get an F in my class. I do not have much patience for it. So grading is strictly points. As I mentioned before, the practice sets are worth 800 points. End of chapter questions are worth 117. In-class examples, 360. And end of chapter problems is 450. And then here is how the points distribute out. If you do not show up to class or post your introductory on the discussion board, you will be dropped from the class on Tuesday, and you may or may not be able to get back in. It is your responsibility to withdraw from the course. Please look at the CSI website and the calendar to figure out what those drop dates are. So in this particular class, we start out with installing QuickBooks on your personal computers, and then we move on to a service business, and then we move on to a merchandising business. Service businesses are a little bit simpler just because we're not selling product, we're not having to keep track of inventory, we're not having to try to order inventory. So things are just a little bit simpler all the way around. For chapter 1, the whole point of it is getting QuickBooks installed and getting it set up on your computer. If you're having problems installing QuickBooks, 1, make sure all of your Windows updates are done. And 2, if you're still having problems, shoot me an email or give me a phone call and I'll be more than happy to help. QuickBooks occasionally can be a little finicky installing, and we can see what we can do to help you out. CSI email, that is one of my sole sources of communication with you. I email quite a bit as an instructor, maybe sometimes too much, but be sure to check your email often. And if you hate checking your Eagle mail, forward it to the email you do check, please. Blackboard is going to be very important in this course because that is where everything is going to be and where all your assignments are going to be submitted. Again, do not email me anything. It will get lost in the shuffle. At the end of the course, there will be an evaluation. I would love to hear your constructive feedback regarding this course. If you are a student with a disability, it is your responsibility to notify me what accommodations you need in order to be successful in this class. The college does not notify me in any way of any accommodations you do have, so please get with me if you are in need of any accommodations. I plan on having summer office hours from Mondays from 10 to 2. I will, with the exception of June 16th and possibly July 7th. You are more than welcome to stop by during that time. Please email me so I can make sure I'm in my office and haven't snuck off to somebody else's office. And I look forward to working with you this semester. Okay, so now we need to move on. Oh, we need to talk about the course schedule. I completely forgot about that. So let's talk about the course schedule. Here is our course schedule. Very, very tight schedule. All of your homework is due on Sundays at midnight, and I grade on Mondays. If it is not there, you will get a 0. You need to not wait till the last minute to do things. You will have computer problems, you will have internet connection problems, you will have Blackboard issues. It's inevitable, and you need to be responsible to getting your work done early so that those problems do not cause problems for you. So nearly every week we have more than one chapter to do. We had to work it that way in order to cram everything into an 8-week course. If you have any questions about this course schedule, please feel free to send me an email. So one of the other things we need to talk about is how do we get the files that we're going to work with? As I mentioned before, for the first 8 chapters, we are going to have files that have already been created for us by the publisher. The chart of accounts is set up, most of the customer names are in there, and we're just going to add transactions to those files. So we access those by going to the website listed on the back of your textbook. This is also covered in chapter 1. But in the back of your textbook, on the back of your textbook, there is a website address in green about 2/3 of the way down the page. And right here, you are going to go to Company Master Files. We are in QuickBooks 2013. QuickBooks 2013. And then this box will pop up and you're going to go open with, and you should have some sort of zip file manager. You're going to hit OK. And for me, they were already downloaded, but you may have to go to Tools and Download. And then you're going to hit Extract. You're going to hit Extract right here. And then you need to tell them where you want them extracted to. I recommend you taking them to your jump drive. Okay, and you'll need to do that with every single file. Click on it and hit Extract. And eventually at some point you'll need to do it for all the files for chapters 1 through 4 and all the files for 5 through 8. But if you wanted to just start with the chapters 1 through 4, you can probably get by with those. And then when you hit chapter 5, you can come and delete or download the others. So now I just want to take a really, really quick tour of QuickBooks. I have some tips and tricks that I think are helpful when you're very first getting started. I'm just going to go ahead and open a sample file that QuickBooks has provided, and when I do the video for chapter 2, I will show you exactly how to open the file, chapters 1 and or 2. I'll show you exactly how to open those files that we are just downloading. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Open Sample File, and I'm going to just do a service-based business. And I apologize, I need to back completely out of this. So QuickBooks would look something like this. I'm going to do open a sample file, and I'm going to just do a sample-based business. And QuickBooks has all these warnings that it'll pop up over and over again, and you can just click do not display this message in the future and hit OK. Okay. And this right here is what we refer to as the home page. This is where all the functions of QuickBooks can be done. Almost all of them can be done right here from this home page. And all these icons do something different. And we're going to learn about these this semester. Couple things that I want to point out. Sometimes you'll get here and this toolbar is missing and you're not really sure what has happened to it. So you would go to View and Top Icon Bar. If you want it someplace else, you can put it on the left. You can hide it, but I find most students really like the top icon bar. The other thing I want to show you about QuickBooks is, look, I had gone in earlier and opened all these. I opened a ton of different reports and I went into a whole bunch of different screens, and so now I have all of these windows open. Well, sometimes in QuickBooks you're like, I'm not really sure what's going on and I have a lot of screens open and I'm really just kind of lost right this second. So here's my trick to that. If you're lost, run home. And what does that mean? Right over here, there's a home icon. Click home. And I'm back to my home screen. Now, all those files haven't closed. They're still open, but they're now just in the background. So for instance, if I click on Window, they're all still open, and I could just grab my profit and loss and it'll bring it to the front. But then I don't have the home screen being covered up. Okay, so again, if you're lost, run home. So one of the things I think some students have a hard time understanding is that although we are putting things in as what appears to be single entry, QuickBooks is doing the journal entry in the background. So for instance, if I were to write a check, and let's say I wanted to write a check and I wanted to write it to the Internal Revenue Service, and I wanted to write that check for $1,000. And here in this box, I tell it what it is. Is it an expense? Did I purchase an asset? Well, my guess is I paid some sort of taxes, and I'm going to say federal taxes, just for this example, and then I'm going to hit save and close. Well, it almost appears like I just made one entry. I just wrote a check. But if we'll go in and pull a report called a journal, and I have a journal already open, and hit refresh, and go all the way to the bottom of that journal, right here at the bottom of the screen, it has done a journal entry for me. It has debited federal income tax, and it has credited my checking account because the balance of my checking account just went down. So although all of these transactions look like they're single entry, QuickBooks is doing the double entry accounting that we have been doing, that you learned in 129. It's doing it in the background. So the other thing I like to talk about right here is, okay, so we enter stuff here. That goes into the general journal. That's where I was just at, where it journalizes all those transactions. And then it flows through to the trial balance. So for instance, here's the trial balance. And if I do all, here's all the transactions that are in this file. Or I can change it to a specific date. But then everything flows from the trial balance to the financial statements, profit and loss, and the balance sheet. And as you go on this semester, you'll learn exactly how to pull all these reports and how to change the dates and all of that. So as you're working through here, remember that you enter it here, it goes to the journal, it goes from the journal to the trial balance, and the trial balance to the financial statements, just like when you have been doing it by hand. QuickBooks just automates many parts of it. I want to talk about printing really quick. So for instance, when you create an invoice, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to just make up an invoice. And you'll learn how to do these invoices step by step when you get into the chapters further. And then I'm going to go up here to print, and I'm going to print invoice, and it goes to the cute PDF writer, and hit print. And then there should be a box that pops up that says Save As, and you will tell it where to save this PDF file. And that's where it's so important to go out and keep track of every single item in those folders. As you move along, you get very lost if you are not saving them where they need to go. So every time you're going through the process in the book where it says to print a report, you're not going to print anything. You are going to save it as a PDF file. Although you go through the screen and tell it to print an invoice, but you select that the printer is Qt PDF Writer. A couple other things about printing. I'm going to pull up a profit or a balance sheet, and we're going to go to print, and we're going to do report. And we're going to select that we want to print it to Qt PDF. And what I want to is you need to fit the report to 1 page wide. I'm not necessarily concerned on how high it is. I am concerned of how wide it is. If you submit to me reports that are more than 1 page wide, I'm going to send you an email and send them back to you and require you to reprint them. When the reports are more than 1 page wide, it is extremely difficult extremely difficult for me to grade them. So for instance, this is the print preview of this balance sheet. And it's 1 page wide. I don't care how many pages long it is, it just needs to be 1 page wide. What'll happen is you'll end up with part of the numbers on one page and part of the numbers on another if you do not set that setting to 1 page wide. So that's very important to remember. Okay, the other thing I can't stress to you enough is dates. Dates, 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 dates. Date everything 2014. I think the textbook has it as 2013. Date everything is 2014. But you will misdate things, and the easiest way to find that is to go to Accountant and Taxes, and then to Journal, and then up here in the upper left hand corner, go to All, and then sort by date. And then scroll all the way to the bottom, and if there's transactions that should be dated 2014 and are dated 2015, they'll be down here, or the ones that are dated in the prior year. This is the report that is the easiest to find those date mistakes. One of the other things that happens with QuickBooks, and I'm just going to minimize these screens, is you will end up with an error that says this file has been transferred to read only. So for example, this is a QuickBooks file, and when you get an error that says, warning, this file is read only, please remove the read only before you can move forward, find the file, right click on it, go to properties, and this box will be clicked, unclick it, hit apply, and OK, and you can move on. QuickBooks does it often, and it's just something that you need to be able to work through. So now I give you check figures, so I'm going to pull back up my Blackboard. So for instance, for chapter 2, and I do this for every single chapter and all the practice sets, customer balance summary on January 5th is $31,425. Well, if you're working through there and you're not matching your check figure, first go back and review your transactions. But then there's a couple other things that you can start looking for. Okay, I'm off, so now what do I do? And I will have expected you to have already gone through this checklist by the time that you have emailed me and say, I'm not really sure where I'm off, I need some help. Can you point me in the right direction? So pull your profit and loss. Do you have any negative numbers on there? If you do, you've probably done something wrong. The only negative numbers should be sales discount and merchandise discount, and we don't cover those until chapter 5. So pull that report, and you'll learn how to do that in chapter 2. Pull that report and see if there's anything negative on there. If there is, double click on the number that's negative, and it'll take you to a list of transactions, and you can look and see why is it negative. Check to see if you misposted the purchase of supplies to an expense instead of an asset. Purchase of supplies is an asset. This is a very common problem. And I will correct you with very little points off through chapters 2 and 3. If you're still misposting them by the time we get to chapter 4, I'm going to take off a significant amount of points. We post supplies to assets. Pull your balance sheet. Look and see if there's just something that looks just completely out of place on your balance sheet. If you've done adjusting entries, double check them. Did you debit an expense or did you credit them? Because when we make adjusting entries, we almost always, 99.9% of the time, post to a debit an expense. If you're needing help with that, look on pages 217 or 217 to 222. They have great examples of adjusting entries. And then number 5, and I just showed you the secret to finding that, is pulling that journal and making sure all your dates are correct. That's again a very common problem. I will post this out right before chapter 1 so that you will have it for future reference as you're working through this class. So what if you get to the point where you have gone through this list, you have reviewed your transactions, and you're still just stuck? You need help. You're not sure where you have gone awry. We have several options in order to help, or I have several options to help you. We have something called Join Me, and I can see what's on your screen, and and we can share a screen and I can help talk you through some of those mistakes and maybe some of those processes that you are having problems with. This would be something though that you would need to set up a appointment ahead of time so that I could be in my office here at school. And I'm more than happy to help, but I do have other obligations outside of this class. So the other option is you can send me some reports and we can email back and forth and see if we can figure those problems out. And I'm going to show you right now those 3 reports that I would need you to send me. I would need your journal and I would need the dates set to all. That would be the very first one, and a lot of mistakes I can find right here on the journal. I would also need you under company and financials and profit and loss. I need a profit and loss and a balance sheet. So if you are emailing me for help, I need a journal, a profit and loss, and a balance sheet. Those are the 3 reports that I would need from you. And if you email me without one of them or all of them, I will give it back to you or email you back and say I need these 3 reports. Those are the easiest for me to look at in order to get you back on the right track. The other thing I want to mention just really quick, and this video will be over, is QuickBooks is fairly easy to undo mistakes, so don't be afraid. There's rarely a mistake that a student has made that I can't undo. There are some things that just due to the limitations of the program cannot be undone. But for the most part, if you are doing a transaction, please don't be afraid because we can always undo it. I look forward to working with you this semester. As I mentioned, the videos for Chapter 1 and or 2 will be posted Tuesday by noon. But for right now, you have the information you need to get started, and I wish you luck and look forward to working with you.